Hello and welcome to another video here at Hobbies and Happiness. My name's Dan.
And I'm Jim, and today we're going over Heroes Unite tier list.
Alright, we're going over the Heroes Unite box, just like we do with the core set. So we are going over the superhero characters that you can take control of in DC deck building game for Heroes Unite. Alright, so what we did, like last time, we're kind of going to go through the same type of format. And we've got our list, and we're going to go from the bottom to the top, talk a little bit about each card, and we'll tell you why, and then you can let us know if you agree or disagree. But before we do that, make sure you like that video, and if you want to see more DC Deck Building Game content, head over to our channel, check out our DC Deck Building Games playlist so you can find all of our content for DC Deck Building Game. And yeah, all right, that out of the way, let's jump in. So we're going to start at the absolute bottom, and you know, no, Jim, you could talk about this one. You could talk about him since you played him.
Since I played him.
Since you played him.
Makes sense.
Since you played him. Who do we got here?
All right, Dan. Starting us off in the literal garbage tier, Red Tornado.
Yeah.
Red Tornado. He has the ability during each of your turns, if there are 4 or more different card types in your discard pile, +2 power.
So what you're saying is I have access to this on turn 1.
Dan, you probably don't have access to this until
like turn 10.
10 maybe. Oh man.
There's like, okay, before we get into like the only card that will always guarantee, now not really guarantee because it all depends on how you're building your deck, that you have access to this. Wow. This is also one of the reasons why I don't like playing the game with a singular superhero. Yeah. Okay, I enjoy having teams, yeah. Right? But before we even talk about that aspect, I mean, there's no +2 power. Okay, +2 power. Okay, I like having +2 power. But
early game,
but yes,
end game,
right?
End game, it's okay, but at that point, you already have a lot of powerful cards and really good synergies.
Right. This I feel like is the epitome of a win more, but you're not even winning.
Yeah, it just seems bad.
Yeah, it's very difficult to build a deck
all the time. It's
very difficult to build a deck around a hero like Red Tornado. Yeah. All right, there's one card. And it's a signature card. It's Crimson Whirlwind. It's a hero card. Reads +2 power. You may put your deck into your discard pile.
Yep.
Cool. So if I have 4 card types, which honestly you will. Like there's no doubt you absolutely will.
Depending on when you got that card, yeah.
No. What I'm saying is your deck. If you're building your deck will have at least 4 card types.
By the end of the game.
Yes, by the end of the game.
It should.
Yes, correct.
Especially if you're playing Red Tornado.
Well, I'm just saying, no matter who you're playing, you're playing.
Yeah, I got you.
Whatever deck you're building, you're gonna have that. So, at some point in the game, you will, right? But now you have to find that one card, Crimson Whirlwind, which it is pretty sure it's one of. It is a one of the entire. Yep, it's the only hero card. That only card. So you're never really. I don't have no good things to say about Red Tornado. Nothing. Nothing.
It looks cool.
Okay.
You got a cool color scheme.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. All right. I'm done talking about Red Tornado.
Next.
Okay. Next. All right. We're gonna move up. So the next tier we have is our B tier.
Yes.
We went up to B tier. So Black Canary. Black Canary we think is B tier. We were kind of teetering between A and B, but we settled on B, and we'll explain. All right. Black Canary has the ability +1 power for each different villain you play during your turn. All right. So with that being said, we now have to look at in the Heroes Unite box. Okay. Let's look at the villains. Okay. There are a total of 32 villain cards, disregarding supervillains. Supervillains do count. So depending on how many supervillains you're playing as will dictate how many are in your game, okay? 32 different villain cards, okay? That equates to 29% of the main deck, okay? Now, of those villains, there are 15 different villains within those 32 villain cards, okay? So for a main deck that's 29% of villains, you have a very, very good shot of having access to a lot of different villains. Okay, so Black Canary has the potential to give you a lot of power. Okay, now the consistency of how much power it's giving you is iffy. It's gonna vary. Now, when we talk about villains, I very much prefer Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, the card draw. Granted, it's the end of your turn of when you play your villains.
But it's setting up your next turn.
Absolutely. Like, give me a card. For me, for my purposes, the way that I view this game, give me more cards over more power. Right? I would much rather see something that says draw a card versus +1 power. But that's just me, right? So
I was also gonna think, like, so at what point does power just outparse a draw card?
That's a very good question.
2, 3, maybe?
Oh, two, depending on the ability, like depending on what we're talking about. Yeah, but in general, if we're talking about +1 power or draw a card, I take hands down draw a card. Hands down draw a card, right? So that being said, let's talk about the next one. Right now, before we move on, I mean, you just recently played a game with Black Canary. I mean, you were just, I remember there were a lot of times you were just like, I get another power off Black Canary, another power off Black Canary. End game, if you're building a deck and you're making sure you're taking all those villains, Black Canary can be pretty big for you. For sure.
It was also really good with the card Brother Blood, I believe his name.
Yeah, Brother Blood.
Yeah, which he's 4 power. Black Canary turns him into 5 power, essentially, which 5 power is huge off of 1 card, essentially. Yeah. It's ginormous.
Yeah, that's super strength from base set. Yeah, super strength, that +5 power is huge. Is very big. But so there's a lot. I mean, it could even turn a Talon. Okay, Talon, which is that can give you, I believe it was you were getting 3 power.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's either 0 if you haven't played a villain or something like that. I forget
you have to have played a villain, or excuse me, a starter card.
Oh, a starter card. Okay.
+2 power if you play or have played a starter card this turn. Otherwise, no power. Yeah. But with Black Canary, that's +3 power.
That's huge.
That's big.
And he himself is only 1 cost.
Yeah, that
so
costs
getting
1.
that early is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So it seems like we're giving reasons why this should be an A tier, right? But I don't know. Like, let us know. If you would put Black Canary in A tier or B tier.
The real reason why we ended up putting it in B tier, I think, is partially also this card and comparing it to the other cards on the list.
Yeah. So speaking of, let's go right into that next one, right? Which is
Hawkman. He has pretty much the exact same ability as Black Canary, +1 power for each hero you play during your turn.
Now, Hawkman is a little bit better because he does not say different. It just says +1 power for each hero you play.
Yes.
That's big. So again, let's look at the numbers. Heroes, 31 hero cards, 28% of the deck.
Yep.
Now that's automatically better than a card, a superhero, which states different, right? For each different hero you play. Yep. So now, granted, a lot. Now there is actually more. I think there's actually more variation in the villains actually than there are in the heroes. There are a lot of the higher cost heroes which are one-ofs. Like we had said, Crimson Whirlwind is a one-of, Kyle Rayner's a one-of. A lot of the higher cost heroes are one-of. So Hawkman, again, looking at the numbers, that's kind of where we left that off with in the B tier. So
they are kind of the same, but they're also different. I also like the Black Canary because you always pretty much have access to 1 super villain that you're going to be able to kill. Maybe you can get on top of your deck somehow, but if there's like nothing in the line, you could at least go ahead and get one of those. To where if you're not coming across like any hero cards at all, well, then that's also kind of a bad thing for Hawkman.
Yeah.
So at least Canary always has that 1 card that she could potentially
Most likely. Now, granted, if you get Vandal Savage, you're only playing Vandal Savage the 1 time. So keep that in mind as well.
Which is why we put them at the same tier.
Right. All right. So That's the B tier. Okay, so we're gonna move into the A tier now. So the first,
I'll read this.
I'm gonna read this one, and then you can, then you can read the next one. All right. So the first one is Nightwing. Nightwing has the ability: the first time you play an equipment during your turn, +1 power. The second time you play an equipment during your turn, draw a card. Like, you know how I literally just said I would prefer to see something that says draw a card over +1 power. This card is both.
Yeah.
This is both.
Yeah.
So that's exactly why we put Nightwing above both Black Canary.
I mean, it's pretty
and
much
Hawkman.
Cyborg from the original set, but it is specifically still equipment.
Yes. So now, his first ability does trigger one time. The first time you play an equipment during your turn, right? So you're only getting that power boost one time, okay? But again, next time you play that equipment, draw a card. So again, wants you to build an equipment-based deck, okay? It synergizes well with equipment.
Which are already super strong.
Soul Taker Sword, anyone?
Soul Taker Sword, Scion Cell, Skeets.
Yeah, so many great ones. Helmet of Fate is actually one of my favorite equipments in this set. Okay, so equipment. There's 27 equipment cards. So 27 equipment cards equates to about 24% of the deck. Okay, a lot of great equipments. Okay, Legion Flight Ring already. That's another just cantrip to draw a card.
Yeah.
So again, with Nightwing, you have the potential to draw 2 cards off of that card as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Now Nightwing is never really going to make you explode. Okay, you're gonna have to do that off of just how you build your deck, right? But the what he provides is a lot of good value. Now, all of our cards so far have they have a very linear deck building path. Okay, so anytime we see these very restrictive superheroes, that kind of brings it down a notch. Okay, in our mind, but that's also really why I really like playing with teams. Right, building a deck with 2 or 3 superheroes involved. So, you got any other thoughts on Nightwing?
He's just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there's really much else to say because the equipment are just so good. Yeah. Like in just about every set that we've seen, equipment are very good. All right, Jim's now going to talk about his favorite card.
All right, guys, the first S tier. All right, I'm just joking. He's S tier in my heart.
Yeah.
Is Shazam, Dan.
I want to be clear. Shazam is an A tier, and Jim will explain. Why.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So he's kind of lovely. So
yes.
You may pay 4 power. If you do gain the top card of the main deck, you may put it on top of your deck or into your discard pile.
All right. So
S tier.
So first things first. Okay. In order to use that effect, it costs you 4 power. Okay.
It's not a one time per.
It is not a one time. No, it is not a one time thing either. So you can do this multiple times during your turn if you have the power. Okay. Now, we totaled up the average cost of cards. Okay. Cards in the main deck, the average cost came out to around 3.87. Okay. So just under that 4 mark. Okay. So again, from an analysis standpoint, we wanted to look at that because
very close to always
it's
being worth.
Very close. Very, very close. Now, it very much it feels bad if you pay that 4 and then you get a 1-drop like Talon.
1-drop.
Right. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. Doesn't feel as bad because you're just wasting the 1. But when you get a 7-drop, an 8-drop,
you're on top of the world.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, this is great. This is great. You get a teleportation off that. Ooh, man,
that's so good.
Man, oh man. Okay, so talk about why you love Shazam and what cards can really help Shazam out.
So in this game, I just always find it so much fun to be gambling off the top. I don't know why. And
maybe because gambling's fun.
It is. It kind of is. But there's also some cards in here that work extremely well with him. And so we have the Shazam card itself,
the superpower,
along with World's Mightiest Mortal. So World's Mightiest Mortal is +5 power, reveal the top 2 cards of the main deck, put any number of them into the lineup, and the rest back on top in any order.
So you can just add those cards to the lineup, right?
Yeah.
So
if you don't like them, put them right in.
Or not even if you don't like it, or if it's one that you like,
and you can get it cheaper.
You get it cheaper, right? Yeah. So you see a 3-drop, you're like, I would really like that, but I'd rather pay 3 for it than pay the 4. Right.
True.
So that is such a great card. And I mean, because this is all on your turn. You're doing this on your turn. It's man. I'm gonna put that 7-drop back, pay 4 for it, and
Yeah. And this card already gives 5 power, so you're just getting
right.
And then the Shazam superpower gives +2 power, reveal and play the top card of the main deck, then return it to the top of the main deck.
Play it, put it back, Shazam, then get it.
And then put it back on top of your deck. If you then have a draws card, then you play it again. It could be amazing.
Okay, so I was initially down on this card. Okay, I was initially down on Shazam. Okay, because I'm like, dude, it's not very consistent. The gambling. I'm all about consistency as a card game player.
There is also one other thing as well that I really like about him. Of that. It allows you to get a card that your opponent cannot have access to. Like if you don't buy anything out on the board. If there's a lot of bad stuff out there as well, you might as well just take the gamble, take the couple cards off the top.
Now, my retort to that initially was that I thought that's not much different from me ending my turn than going to Jim's turn, revealing cards off the top, putting them into the lineup, and then Jim being able to buy those. I already I would not have access to those because Jim would then buy those directly, right? But what do you say? What did you say in response to that?
So then the other thing is, yes, he wouldn't have access to that 1 or 2 cards that have then come off the top, but he now doesn't have access to that 3rd card as well. So now we're just adding more to those.
Right. But then if you didn't get those ones that were revealed before your turn, I now have a chance to buy those. So, again,
if there's ever a thing of a lot of power, I just can't do it. Or I want to take a supervillain instead.
Right. Or, but again, gamble. It's a gamble. Like everything that we talk about Shazam, it comes down to a gamble.
That RNG.
It's all a gamble. There are going to be some games you're like, dude, Shazam killed it for me this game. I got so much value. And then there's going to be games where it's like, dude, Shazam just sucks. And I got literally nothing.
It's because they didn't use the effect enough.
Right.
That's why. I'll be like, 20 power? Let's do it. 5 off the top.
Yep. Right.
And then you could, since you're able to put them on top, you could just be like,
but that's the thing.
A lot of cards.
And that was why I said I'm fine putting this in A tier.
Yeah.
When we read it and it says you can put these cards on top of your deck or your discard. Okay, that's so good because it's not they're not all going straight to the discard.
Because another thing is, like me and Dan love drawing cards,
right?
But also just fixing the top of your deck as well.
Yep.
It's kind of better than drawing a card,
Yeah, it's because again, you can do it on you can activate that effect, get 4 power into your pool essentially, pay it. Put that card on top of your deck, draw a card, and now you're playing it that turn. It's good.
So
even if it's a cheap card, like even if you lost the 1 power or 2 power, you're still able to access it then for that turn.
It's just you put it right on top of your deck. If you really like the card, boom, throw it up there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, so we have 3 cards that give us the ability to manipulate the top of the deck, the main deck essentially, or know what's on top of it. And so sure, we have a 3.87 average on all of these card costs, but now since we're able to kind of mess around with those numbers, it can actually go
Yeah,
up.
it can go up. Like,
Yeah.
anytime you have more knowledge about what's there, I mean, it automatically makes what you're about to do for that turn so much better, because now you're like, all right, I'm not going to gamble because I know what's there. Now I have to utilize my power for what's on board, essentially. So, yeah, I mean, Shazam is a good card. And again, I think we also do have to preface it with in our experience, but additionally, to our experience, you have to look at everything that we just said. Like, it's there. It's just, is the gamble worth it? Is the gamble gonna be worth it? So
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is.
Yeah. And from what we've seen, a lot of times it's worth it. Even if you get it just that one time.
Yeah.
Even that one time, it's like I just got teleportation. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, but teleportation is also in the same vein. You're just getting that card for free.
That's Shazam plus teleportation.
Oh yeah.
With that combo.
Yeah.
Where is the card?
It's there somewhere.
It's there somewhere.
So all right. Well, I'm gonna talk about my favorite one. We're moving into S tier now. We found it. We're moving into S tier. The first one we're talking about is Batgirl.
Yeah.
Batgirl is so good, and it's such a great effect. Once during each of your turns, you may discard a punch card. If you do, draw a card. That is such a very simple effect. Very simple effect. But it is so stinking powerful. You have access to 7 punches at the start of the game. Access to 7 punches. That is 7 opportunities of cards in hand that you can exchange that punch for a card.
Yep.
So good.
Instantly turn a punch into draw a card.
There are so many cards that you can Canary Cry, Skeets, multiple ways of putting a hero, villain, a certain type of card from discard on top of your deck. Now you're just like, I need to be able to draw a card. Batgirl is your way to just draw a card. You're like, okay, I need to be able to draw something. I need to be able to draw a card. You always have access to that. The ability to always have access to draw a card in lieu of I need to rely on a card in my deck that states draw a card is extremely powerful. I mean, I can't say enough how powerful it is. Batgirl, like I said, my favorite superhero from this set. Favorite, hands down. But it's just because it's so good. It's so good. I don't like blowing up punches in a deck with Batgirl in it. Now, I still will blow up a few. I still will destroy a few. But I do need...
Overall, it's still worth it.
Correct. But I still need ways to be able to draw cards in the deck. And Batgirl plus punches gives you those ways.
Because you think about it, if you blow up the punch and when you would have normally got that into your hand, well, if it's now just gone, you would be drawing the next card regardless. So, and then it makes it to where if you then had another punch, well, now you can go ahead and activate her effect, pitch the punch to now draw an additional card rather than that punch taking up the slot.
The biggest thing that I really enjoy doing with Batgirl is with cards like Skeets or Canary Cry, for instance, okay? I believe Canary Cry is the one where you can put a villain from discard on top of deck. So if I have a super villain like Black Adam, let's say, in my discard, if I play Black Canary and instead of drawing a card, I put a villain from discard on top of deck, then I can use Batgirl to draw that card. Okay, always having access to that draw card is extremely powerful. So, I mean,
let's just go ahead and put a super villain on top.
Exactly.
I'll get rid of this punch.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's I can't really say much else because Batgirl's just so good. Batgirl's very good. So, all right, why don't you talk about the next one? Last one.
This next guy, Booster Gold. +1 power for each defense card you play during your turn. When you avoid an attack, draw a card.
Okay, so again, we talk like I talked about before. I'd much rather have draw a card instead of +1 power. An example where you get both. Okay, there was a game where I played Booster Gold, and I was able to get my hands on a lot of defense cards. Okay, so I got a lot of defense cards. Every time I played that defense card, +1 power, get another power to my pool essentially. But then also that ability to just draw an extra card on a lot of defense cards. A lot of defense cards are you use it to defend and then you draw a card. You're essentially replacing the card in your hand. Now I am up a card. I am up a card before I go into my next turn. Okay. Right, because that's normally how it works, okay? And let's say I end my turn. I have multiple defense cards in my hand with Booster Gold, okay? I defeat a supervillain, okay? We have a first appearance attack coming in, okay? First appearance attack, I defend. I am up a card, okay? My opponent does his turn. He's able to defeat a supervillain. Another first appearance attack incoming, okay? I have another defense. Defend, Booster Gold. I am now up 2 cards from the end of my
7
last
cards
turn.
in hand going into your
into
your turn.
That is so good.
And it's not even just that, right? So now we're talking about the attacks that are happening from the supervillains. He's not only not so much like gaining an advantage, but he kind of is.
Yeah.
You're just not getting messed up from the supervillain attack to where if it's like, oh, well, I can't defend. Well, now I got 3 weaknesses in my deck, or I got to flip down my superhero, or I got to get rid of 2 cards in my hand. Well, now I'm also down 2 cards. Dan completely gets rid of the effect, and now he's up 2 cards as well. So now it's just like that power swing that can happen because you're avoiding the attack, especially with Booster Gold, is huge.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out his signature hero card, okay? It's Hero of the Future. It's a 4 cost, and it says +2 power and an additional +2 power for each defense card you play or have played during this turn. 3 defense cards equates 8 power. 8 power for a 4 cost card. Oh, wait. And let's say you're playing Booster Gold. You played 3 defense cards. That's an additional 3 power off of your Booster Gold superhero. So,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's really, really crazy. I mean, the defense cards are some of the best cards in the game. Like, you need defense cards in your hand. You need them in your deck, period. So the ability to abuse those with Booster Gold is just so powerful. So, Booster Gold's so good. And playing Booster Gold and Batgirl together, it's really good.
Very powerful.
A lot of fun. So, all right. Now we throw it to you. What do you think? If you've played this set, Here's Your Night, what do you think of the superheroes? Do you agree or do you disagree? Probably getting a lot of people who disagree with us.
Maybe
that's fine.
Maybe they're a fan of Red Tornado, and they're like,
"Are you a fan?"
Actually, he's really good, and I'm like, I think you're wrong.
Now, granted, we are evaluating this in the context of the box that it came in. Okay. Now, you always have the capability and ability to mix and match all of these sets and these heroes with other cards. So, and at some point, probably way down in the future, we may try and figure out a way to evaluate these in context of the game as a whole, but that's going to be a lot because there's a lot of heroes.
That's going to be difficult.
There's a lot. There's definitely a lot in there. But so we kind of thought we would just evaluate in its own context. So that's what we think. Like I said, we're going to throw it to you. Let us know what you think. Do you like Red Tornado? Do you hate Shazam, or do you love Shazam? Or you just like doing,
Shazam!
I like doing that.
Am I like the only one that does that? I feel like I am.
No, there's no way. There's no way you are. There's got to be people. I can just imagine people in an LGS playing this game and then just going, Shazam! All right. Well, also, do you do that? Do you do Shazam? Do you? I'd love to know. Also, I can't wait to. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this Black Adam movie with the Rock. That looks pretty cool. Yeah. Trailer just dropped. Go check that out. That's pretty cool. But again, let us know what you think. Let us know if you agree, disagree, and who your favorite superhero is from this set. We would love to know. All right, that's all I got for you guys for today. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you in the next video. See you, everybody.
Take care.